Hi class. Today we're starting our sitting asanas. So I'll be doing one pose in a standing position, moving down towards the mat. And we'll be doing a series of forward bends and twists and a couple of balancing poses from the sitting position. You also have some supplementary reading on the class page, and I posted a video to go along with our slides. So let's get right into it. Okay. So we've done preparatory movements, sun salutations, and moon salutations. And from there, I do one more standing pose before I usually move on to the mat for our sitting positions. And the standing pose starts wide-legged. And we're going to bring our hands to our hips. And we'll start by just leaning forward with a flat back. So bending again, like I always say, from the base of the spine. We're going to lean forward and make your back flat. So actually, let me turn and show you what that should look like. So you have your legs straight, your back straight, and your neck in line with your spine. Just pretend that you are as flat as a table. And like you can balance a ping pong ball on the back, on your back. And it won't roll off in either direction. So from there, I'm going to move back like this. From there, extend outward for a little while, and then when you feel ready, bend down from the base of the spine with your upper spine, neck and head to follow. You can hang your arms down, hold on to your elbows, and just let your head drop. And now notice that the weight of your shoulders and your head and your arms helps to release all through your upper spine. You can even shake your head back and forth a little bit here. You can move your arms, let your arms swing. We're releasing all through our spine. Trying to let your knees be straight, not locked, but straight. And then some variations with your arms. You can hook your hands together, let them fall out behind you, and give you a different type of shoulder stretch. And then we're going to walk our hands over to our left ankle, extending the back up and down the leg. You can bring your nose to your knee. Keep your right hand on your left ankle and twist to look up, reaching your left arm up. And let's do the same thing on the other side. Exhaling as you move in towards the leg and twist. Inhale as you bring your torso back to the center, hands flat on the mat. Now from here, if you were to come back to standing, I usually walk my feet in, toe to heel, but we're going to be moving down to the mat from here. So I turn my left foot outward, bring the knee to the mat, and you can either stay just like this or come down onto your elbows. Actually, there's a few poses before we actually get to sitting, but I'll show you them because some side strengthening and balancing. So you can keep your knee on the mat here in this side plank position, or you can bring both legs out. You could look upward in one variation. Another is to pick a point to look at, bring your leg up. And I do the same on the other side. First, focusing on opening up through the chest, through the hips, pretending that you're flat as a piece of paper, just like in triangle pose. Then you can do the variations if you want. And then we're back to that similar pose on the other side. Sometimes I can do kind of a split. I can't always. That's usually how I transition down onto the mat, but you can just sit down. So once we get down to the floor, we are starting with happy cow, and then we'll do a twist, a seated twist, and we'll do the same thing on both sides, and we'll do some other poses. Okay, so happy cow. You can do this. You cross both knees on top of each other, and this gives you a stretch throughout your hips. You can bring your ankles in toward the legs, or you can bring them out. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Move slowly and pay attention to your knees and your hips. Okay. So if sitting like this is enough of a stretch for you, just sitting like this is what you'll want to do. You can bring both arms up. Inhale, extending the spine. Now cross your left elbow over your right. So opposite elbow as compared to the knees that are crossed. Inhale, lifting your spine up. Exhale, if you're comfortable, you can lean forward in this pose. If you want to add a twist, you can rest your chin to the opposite side of the top knee. And we're going to bring the top knee up. This is going to be Matsyendrasana. It's a variation of Vakarasana, seated twist. Inhale, the left arm up, extending the spine up toward the ceiling. And as you exhale, we're twisting from the base of the spine, looking over the right shoulder, but first twist from the base of the spine, allowing the upper spine and the neck to follow. If this is really easy for you, or you've done a lot of practice with this, you may be able to reach through the leg to grab the fingers. That's something I used to do, not right now, not today. So then we'll switch to the other side, and that's kind of a fun way to twist. You come up onto your feet and twist around. So now we're in happy cow on the other side. So find how it's comfortable for you with now your left knee's on top of the right, whether you want your ankles in or out. I have one out, one in. Listen to your knees, listen to your body. You want to sit equally on both sides though. So inhale the arms up, extending upward toward the ceiling. Cross the right elbow over the left this time. Kind of similar position to the standing difficult pose, quote difficult pose. Inhale, exhale, coming forward if you want to, if it's comfortable. Resting the arms, resting the back over the legs. And if you want to add a twist, slight twist, you can rest your head to the opposite side of your knee. You can hold each of these for several breaths. Every time in these poses, when you inhale, think about extending the spine, and when you exhale, think about relaxing the spine out into whatever position it is that you're trying to reach. So picking up the knee, inhale the right arm up, extending the spine upward, and we're twisting. This is called stop sign variation with your hand up, or you can have your arm resting down. Every inhale, we're extending up through the spine. Every exhale, twist from the base of the spine first, followed by the upper spine, shoulders and neck. If you want, you can reach your hands through if that's a variation you're comfortable with. And when you untwist, we go the opposite direction. Head first, then upper spine and lower spine. Okay, so now we're moving into Adha Paschimottanasana, half forward bend, meaning one leg out. You can have your left foot against the right leg, or you can put it on the hip. That's what I usually do. And you can see I'm adjusting myself. You want to feel like you're sitting equally on both of your sit bones. So careful. This was one of the pieces of advice I gave in the slides and that the book gives. Careful not to lift up on one side or the other. You may notice you start to do that if you're more tense on one side than the other. You want to sit equally on both sit bones. So One variation of this, I reach around to grab my foot and I lift up my right arm, or you can just lift both arms up together. Inhale up, exhale down. And then we're moving into Akarna Dhanurasana. This is bow pose, bow and arrow pose. So what you do is you take your fingers and grab your toes. And we're going to be lifting the left leg up toward the left ear, like you're shooting a bow and arrow. And then switch and lift the left toe toward the right ear. From here is a good place to move into this hip releasing pose that people call rocking the baby. And then we're going to find our balance holding on underneath the knee. We did this kind of thing in preparatory movement number 10 or 12. And we're going to make a circle with our pointed toe, strengthening our knee. You can do circles in either direction. And then we're going to do the same with the other. And we're moving into Adha Paschimottanasana on the other side. So get yourself sitting equally on both sit bones. Inhale the arms up, exhale down. Grabbing your toes into Akarna Dhanurasana. This is the first variation. You may notice one side's easier than the other. Usually in this pose, one side is much easier than the other for me, for whatever reason. Or one variation is easier than the other, you'll notice. Okay. And from here, we'll go into full Paschimottanasana. So you want to be sitting equally on both sit bones. Let's move our ankles a little bit up and down. Okay. Now, this is the forward bend that I'm sure you have done forward bends in stretching in gym class and sports, whatever. But we're going to be practicing it yoga style, meaning we're going to pay attention to certain things. So we're going to inhale our arms up, reaching up towards the ceiling. Relax your shoulders down. Imagine your spine extending up toward the ceiling. Now, as we go down, resist the urge to just curl your spine. We're going to be extending from the base of the spine, relaxing the hands down, keeping the neck in line with the spine. You can keep walking your fingertips forward. Let your breath guide you. So as you inhale, each inhale, you're extending the spine up and out. Each exhale, you're relaxing down from the base of the spine. And then your upper spine and your head will follow. Eventually, you may be able to get your hands around the bottom of your feet and rest your forehead on your knees. Here's a trick that I learned. It's not a trick, but it's a technique, I guess. So what we're going to do is we'll inhale, exhale, lay down, stretch from fingertips down to toes, stretch your whole body. Paschimottanasana stretches the whole backside of the body, so think you're stretching from your heels to your neck. So what I'm doing is I'm inhaling, laying down, stretching my whole body, and then I exhale while I lay there. I sit up, inhale, exhale, and fold in half. And we'll do that several times, and you'll notice each one will get a little easier. And you may find maybe by the third or something, you're doing it better than the first time you tried it. So we're going to inhale, exhale, lay down. Inhale, extend your whole body. Exhale, relax. Inhale, sit up. Exhale, bend forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lay down. Inhale, extend fingertips to toes. Exhale, relax. Inhale, sit up. Exhale, bending forward. So that's a really good way to practice Paschimottanasana. Now, we're going to move into Padmasana. In this position, this is lotus pose. So in this position, I'm going to turn actually to face you. We have the tops of our feet resting on our hips. And you can put your fingertips and your pointer and your thumb together into Dhyan Mudra. That's meditation posture. We're just going to take a couple breaths here. And if you can't do this, there are a lot of variations. So for example, you can put one foot on top of the other leg, or you can just sit cross-legged. So you can switch the feet. It could be more comfortable on one side than the other. And either way, you should try switching your feet in whatever position you're in to give your knees and your hips an equal stretch. If Padmasana is easy for you, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to attempt a variation that I used to do. Baddha Padmasana, so you reach your one hand around to grab your toes and your other hand around the back to grab your other toes. I'm pulling my own hair, okay. And continue breathing normally. So that gives your back a really nice stretch. And then another variation, we're going to put our hands on our abdomen. Inhale, exhale, and lean forward. Inhale, sitting up. I'll put some pressure on the abdomen, and anytime you do that, you're stimulating your digestion, you're stimulating circulation in your abdomen. This type of thing can increase appetite, can decrease constipation, can in general improve circulation in your abdomen. So from here, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. Let me rock back and forth. Make sure you feel both of your sit bones on the floor. If you're able to lean forward in this position, you can. Again, just listening to your body. Then we're going to open up our legs. This is a seated Orgasana. We started with a standing version of this, the legs wide, right? And I like to start side to side first. So I'm going to reach my left arm behind me to grab my right hip, lift the right arm up, and extend down over the left foot. You can grab your hands over your back like that, little back zipper, and then reach the left arm across and bend to the side. Reaching the right arm up, resting the head on the elbow. These are a lot of variations. You can just keep it simple and reach both hands to one side at a time. I'm showing different variations for different levels. So again, the hand around to the hip, left arm up, and then I bring my hand up the back as I go down to the right foot. Reach my left hand to meet my right. Cross the right arm in front. Left arm over. With each inhale, again, we're extending the spine. Exhale and relax down. Left arm up, rest the head on the right hand and elbow. And then we can walk our hands forward. Now again, careful not to arch the spine. There's an ego problem that happens with forward bends where we want to do what we know is possible and some people can do. And so we end up arching the back to just like get to the floor, but it can hurt your back to do that. And so we want to keep our back straight. We want to walk our hands forward and bend from the base of the spine. And I promise you, you'll make more progress doing this than arching your back. So you can walk yourself back up to sitting, and we'll be doing a series of balancing poses next. So we're going to come up onto our toes here. And the first thing is a little bit of a back bend. So we're going to extend out and back, and you can skip these if they're not comfortable. These are just some transition poses that I do. I'll search for the names of them. I'm forgetting the names. Camel is the next one. So now we're on our knees. We're going to reach back for our ankles, extending up, out, and back. You can reach your arm up one at a time. Take a breath. So it's kind of a counter pose. We'll be learning about counter poses. When we do a forward bend, we like to counter it with a back bend so that our spine eventually, straightens out. And then we're going to do a toe balancing pose. This is called toe balancing pose. So we're on our toes. It has another name, but it has a Sanskrit name, but I'm forgetting it. And you can put your palms together. Now here's a challenge. If you can get onto one of your toes, well, 5 toes, 1 foot, you can do that. And you may just be able to bring your hands up for a moment at a time until it gets easier, but that's a good challenge. Again, choose a point on the floor or the wall to look at during the whole time you're attempting to balance. You may be able to find that balancing point. Okay. Just have a couple more poses here for this week. Next week we'll be doing poses in face down position. So this is called crow pose. You may have seen this or tried it before. If you're trying it for the first time, be brave, and you may want to put something soft in front of you in case you fall forward. You may just want to practice falling forward onto your forehead each time because you don't want to land on your face because it will hurt you, but it's fine. So a lot of yoga is becoming just comfortable with slightly awkward things that you're not used to doing. They may not be all that hard. Once you get kind of like your head around it, that can be the biggest hurdle. So we're going to put our palms down and our knees on our elbows and just tip forward. You can see how I start with my toes on the mat, and you can start by just lifting your toes just the tiniest little bit at a time until you feel confident in your balancing, and then you may lift them up a little bit more until you find a balancing point, and you look a little like a crow, and that's why it's called crow. And if you're falling forward, just put your forehead down to catch yourself, and that's okay. You may just do that on purpose to practice. Okay. And then the last one for this week is called swan pose. Another bird one called peacock, which at one point I was starting to get the hang of, but I will not show you today. I might be able to find a picture of it for you though. That's a challenging one. Done with your legs in Padmasana and you're balancing on your wrists. They say if you can do that, you can digest anything. This one is not the same, but it's similar with the wrists, called swan pose. So we're actually going to turn both of our wrists to face outward and put your elbows in toward your abdomen. You're going to be balancing like this on your hands, and you'll bring your feet out behind you, keeping your toes on the mat. It's called swan. Okay. Well, I'm going to show you peacock, and I'll probably cut it out of the video. Okay. So we're in Padmasana, and then we come up into similar to swan with the wrists, and then you try to lift You try to actually lift those back legs behind you. That's not happening today. Probably for a while. I have to practice that a lot. But, you know, getting comfortable with the concept is the beginning. So you're in Padmasana and you walk up onto your knees. And then you actually eventually try to lift up those legs. The full pose, you're balancing and the legs can kind of come up like a peacock. Let's see if I can find a picture. Okay, so next week we're going to be starting in table position and we'll be doing some poses on our belly on the mat. Okay, send me some pictures and some comments, and I hope you have a good week.